Hey everyone, welcome to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. We're here to chat about all things mental health, share some awesome stories, educate, and advocate to break stigmas and gain power through knowledge for all ages and walks of life, and give you the tools you need to boost your mental game. So grab a coffee, get comfy, tune in, get inspired, and let's dive into some fascinating conversations. Remember, your mind is super powerful, and with the right tools and knowledge, you can master your mental playbook. And while you're doing that, take care of you. Hey everyone, Christine here. Welcome back to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. It's almost August. August is a sneaky month, right? It's still summer, but you can feel the energy shifting and schedules start tightening up and old anxieties pop up. Somehow, we forget to take care of ourselves in the shuffle. So let's fix that. Some of the things that I see going on, as you know, sometimes it's in July, but the minute August hits, back to school ads start popping up. So then the pressure starts to get the newest lunch kits and school supplies, and just the pressure of knowing that summer's ending. Fitness goals for fall. We all say, back to routine. Let's start back with the fitness stuff. I indulged in the summer. And so a couple of things could happen there too, right? I've got one more month. So I'm going to eat all the things and do all the things and just lie around, be lazy, relax, whatever it may be. That adds more pressure. And then there's the stuff that I had planned to get done in the summer, and I didn't. So either you really, rush to get it done, or it just kind of hangs over you. And then we're anticipating colder weather. And that can affect mood. We know it's coming. Some people live for the fall. Some people love fall. I love fall. Not just the colors of the trees, just the weather. It's like a happy temperature, especially with the summer that we've been having in the 40s Celsius here in Canada. And so that's, sometimes it's not enjoyable. So you can look forward to that, but then it's like a guilt that people have, and clients say that to me. I'm looking forward to the cooler weather, not cold weather, the cooler weather, but then I shouldn't be saying that. I should be enjoying the summer. I should be grateful, that sort of thing, right? So if you're feeling meh right now, you're not alone. Or when August hits, it's just you're not alone. Before we reach for our toolkit though, we need to know what we're working with. So everyone knows, especially my clients, that I love my toolkits. I love having that toolbox and with strategies and skills to work on. But we need to know what we're working with first. So we need to ground ourselves and ask ourselves some questions. So what's your current emotional weather? I want you to ask yourself that. What am I feeling right now? Am I feeling pressured? Am I feeling gloomy? Am I feeling bright and I'm going to enjoy this? Am I anticipating? Ask yourself, what's your current emotional weather? Ask yourself, what have I been ignoring emotionally? So, what am I just kind of, focusing on things to do? Summer's halfway over or it's going towards the end. And what have I been ignoring emotionally? And what do you wish someone would say to you right now? Do you wish somebody would say, hey, it's cool. Do what you want to do? Do you wish somebody would say, okay, September's coming, we need to kick it into gear? Do you wish somebody would say, yeah, that sucks, right? What do you wish somebody would say to you right now? I want to encourage you to name it, answer that question, and just sit in your feelings rather than just trying to fix them. And now the question you're going to ask me is, what is sitting in your feelings? I think that gets thrown around a lot. People say you need to sit in your emotions. You need to sit in your feelings. And so I want to explain what that is. It means to allow yourself to fully experience your emotions without distraction, without judgment, or the urge to immediately fix it or escape them. It's kind of an emotional presence, right? It's being mindful emotionally. So it's where you give yourself space for whatever you're feeling to exist and unfold. And there's ways to do that. And here's what it involves. So noticing, becoming aware of what's bubbling up, whether it's sadness or anger or joy, excitement, anxiety, or anything in between. Just sit there and notice what is bubbling up and then name it. Identifying the emotion helps make sense of it. Saying I'm feeling overwhelmed gives it form rather than just letting it churn inside. Accepting, letting the emotion be. Okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm feeling anxious. Just let that emotion be without criticizing it or criticizing yourself for feeling it. No more, I shouldn't be upset. Just, this is what I'm feeling right now. So we've noticed, we've named it, we've accepted it, and now we're observing. We're watching how the emotion moves through you or through us, right? Physically and mentally, because it's really important to attach a physical sensation to the emotion. I get my clients to do that all the time, and here's why. The hippocampus, the memory part of your brain, remembers physical sensations attached to things, attached to events, and other things, physical aspects. But if you can identify, if you know that, wow, I have this anxious pit in my stomach, I must be stressed, right? That's usually how I feel when I'm stressed. Then sometimes what happens is you feel the physical sensation before the brain catches up to know what that emotion is. An emotion is an unconscious, instinctual response to a stimuli or a situation. So you're not saying, oh, I think I'm going to feel this way in a given moment. So if you're physically feeling it, you know the emotion is coming or it's there. So if you can attach those two by observing and understanding what's happening, what physical sensation is, then you can catch it right when it happens so that you can use whatever skill set you've learned, cognitive behavior therapy, or, challenging those thoughts. For instance, does my chest tighten up? Also, do my thoughts race? Even though that might not seem like a physical sensation, we know when we start perseverating or ruminating. So when that happens, okay, there's an emotion occurring. Does it feel like a wave or a fog? So observe all the different aspects that are happening when you experience an emotion. And then compassion. Offer yourself kindness as you sit with what's hard. No more, like I said earlier, no more, I shouldn't be upset. I should suck it up, whatever it happens to be. Offer yourself kindness. Just sit there. This is hard. Think about what you would do for a friend. Think about what you would do for a friend that is in pain. No fixing, just presence. Just be there for yourself, like you would be there for a friend. That's what sitting with your feelings or sitting with your emotions entails. And it's a powerful practice to build emotional resilience. Sometimes just sitting with the discomfort allows it to soften. It sometimes just does it on its own when we're sitting there and we're using those techniques that I just mentioned. Oftentimes it also reveals insights that we may discover that we couldn't access if we were distracting ourselves or avoiding it. A little quote, awareness is the first step toward meaningful care. If we are aware about how we're feeling, what's going on, those physical sensations, acknowledging, naming, sitting with it, then we can incorporate some meaningful care into our lives. So now that we know where we're coming from, let's look at some tools to put in that toolbox, help us navigate August. I'm going to offer some different tools. We're going to talk about mind tools, body tools, and soul tools. Okay. Mind tools, thoughts. Let's talk about thoughts. The loud ones, the sneaky ones, and the ones you deserve more of. And here's some techniques. So, thought reframing ideas. I am all about reframing thoughts. And if you're a client of mine, or if you become a client of mine, you will know that I am reframing thoughts all the time. Sometimes thoughts are these mental roadblocks. And if we reframe them, they can be stepping stones to remove the roadblocks. So instead of I failed, and first of all, it's not about changing the negative to positive. I'm not someone who is like negative and positive. I don't really like that because I think that kind of instills more of a black and white thinking. So it's instead of I failed, it's not I succeeded, right? It's okay, I failed. Yep. I learned something from it. So we always learn from our mistakes. And so reframe. I learned something from it. I didn't do enough this summer. I rested, and that's valuable too. I'm dreading fall routines. Structure can support my goals and my energy. I can't do this. I'm still trying to figure it out, or I'm still figuring it out. Those are phrases that we can reframe. Some of the reframing that I do in session entails more like involves more. So just an example. When clients use the term exercise, there's some heaviness to it. And because when they say exercise, they think of traditional, let's go to the gym, let's lift weights, let's, run on the treadmill, whatever it may be. And yes, we do need to exercise. I'm not saying not to exercise, but if we reframe exercise for some people who are having difficulty, and I've done this with clients, I said, okay, don't call it exercise, call it activity. Well, I'm active every day. Okay, right? The minute we say exercise, we think I need to go to the gym 3 days a week. You can go to the gym, but if you're active, what does that look like? Your body needs to move. And depending on what age you are, right, it can look differently. So reframe words. When we say, I have to, I need to, I should, it feels like we're not in control. Reframe it. I choose to. I get to. I want to. It's just changing a word. It's reframing a word, and it can change the whole meaning for you. Keep a reframe journal. So there's a couple things you can do. You can do like a bullet journal, with pictures and stuff like that to reframe things that you're dealing with in August, things that thinking that you have, that you didn't do enough, or school prep is coming up. But you can also write down your automatic negative thoughts, ants, we call them, or popcorn thoughts. Write them down and challenge them. Whether it's the notes in your phone or a journal, I get clients to do that all the time. Actually, it is part of cognitive behavior therapy where we write down those thoughts and we challenge them and we come up with an alternate thought. So write them down, challenge them. So some journal prompts for reframing. If you do want to do a journal, you can ask yourself some questions. What thoughts keep showing up that no longer serves me? Answer that. Write it out. You can also do voice recording journals. I know some people that do that as well. I have some clients that do that. What's one belief I can soften this month? Write about it. What would I tell a friend who's thinking the same thing? We are so much nicer to our friends than we are ourselves, or to our family, our kids, right? So I often use that with clients. What would you say to your child? Not what you just said to yourself, right? What would you say to your child? What would you say to your friend? Write it down. Pretend you're talking to that person, and then read it to yourself. You can also create visual cues. So flashcards, I get people to do flashcards or Post-it notes on your mirror, that kind of thing, with just your favorite reframes, just to have them nearby, or affirmations if you want. But if you are having a reframe is I see negative, but that's what they're called, a negative thought or an intrusive thought that keeps coming up. And since we're doing the month of August, I'm going to focus on some things that come up there. But, I didn't get everything done this summer that I wanted to. Write that down and then write your alternative, reframe it and post it. So every time it comes up, you have a reframe for it. I kind of talk about the pushing buttons technique, and I say to clients, like people that push your buttons, write down the things that they say that pushes your buttons, and think about, if it's a security code and they have the plastic thing that comes over it, pull that plastic thing over. So if they're pushing your buttons and it is, for yourself though, if that is, I didn't get all the stuff done that I was supposed to this summer, write down what you're going to tell yourself. When it's for someone else, I say write down what you're going to tell yourself and write down how you're going to respond. But what are you going to tell yourself when that comes up? Because reminding yourself constantly that you didn't get everything done that you wanted to this summer isn't going to get everything done. It's actually going to trigger the stress response, which is going to affect your frontal lobe and your prefrontal cortex, and you can't process, and you're going to want to avoid. So it actually has the opposite effect. So come up with a reframe. I rested, and I set pretty high expectations for myself. I rested, I enjoyed my summer, and it's recharged me for the fall, right? Reframe it. Write a burnout letter that you're not going to send. I get clients to do undeliverable letters all the time. I do them. I do undeliverable letters. If there's something that I just need to get out, if there's something that if I'm having a conflict with somebody and I've tried talking to them, or it's, just not worth it. Sometimes you're not going to change that person's behavior. Sometimes I write an undeliverable letter and I just get it all out. And then I have my own little ritual that I'm going to talk about in a second, but it could be to a boss. It could be to yourself. It could be to whomever that you feel is contributing to the burnout. Just let it all out. That's what an undeliverable letter does. Let it all out. No filter, no judgment. For me, when I get clients to do it, when I do it myself, it's a let it all out, no filter, no judgment, get all the feels out. And then when you get towards the end of the letter, empower yourself. But I have the tools, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, whatever it happens to be, to empower yourself. And so with the burnout letter, it might be, you start with, dear whomever, I'm exhausted, and here's why. Just vent freely, whether it's the workload, emotional labor, stress, feeling unseen, feeling unheard, perhaps, whatever it may be, this is what I'm feeling. Sometimes you can use metaphors, right? I feel like a battery that just won't charge. It just kind of gives it visualization. And you can end with a gentle wish, such as, I'm finding ways to heal, even if you don't see it. Remember, this letter could be to yourself, but you want to write it like you're writing it to somebody, right? But it could be to an employer as well, whomever it may be. You can do that with a gentle wish, or you can empower yourself, like I had said previously. After writing it, decide what you're going to do. What's your ritual going to be? Some people shred them. Some people cut them up, rip them up. I burn it, right? Some people choose to burn it. I'll either just do it in my sink, make sure it's a safe place. I do it in my sink with some water. I hold it for a second, and it's very therapeutic. Or I do it outside in the backyard, in a safe spot, fireplace, barbecue, whatever it happens to be. But to me, it's just kind of like, right? And it's gone, and there's no remnants of it. So I'm releasing with it. So try that. And then you can try a boundaries checklist. Do a quick self-assessment. Do a boundaries checklist. It's just a quick self-assessment tool just to help you stay true to yourself. And here are some of the things that you can have on your checklist. Have I scheduled downtime before fall responsibilities ramp up? Am I saying yes out of guilt or genuine desire? Have I defined my work-life boundaries before the busy season begins? Am I protecting my mornings or evenings for personal rituals? Have I communicated my limits around social plans or travel? Am I checking in with my body before committing to anything? That kind of goes to what I was saying before. If you're checking in with your body, how you're physically feeling before committing to anything is one thing. If you're asked to do something and you get some of those physical sensations attached to an emotion that you're aware of, let's say it's dread or anxiety or anything like that, when someone asks you, you feel that physical sensation, that is your cue to say no. So keep that in mind. Have I reviewed my digital boundaries? So screen time, notifications is something too. It's not just about being, scrolling or being on our devices. Those notifications that pop up all the time, they're distracting, they're time consuming, because even if you don't reply to it, if something pops up, it's in your head. And so a text message might pop up and you're in the middle of doing something and you notice it, you're thinking about that text message, right? So maybe you need to, at certain times, turn off all notifications. Make that boundary checklist. Another one is, am I honoring my need for solitude, even if others want to make the most of summer? Some people see summer and it's like, I need to get everything in. I need to, I got these 2-3 months and I'm going to get it all in. And summer, it's summer and I'm going to do some things, but I also just want to chill. It's, it was a long, hard winter, or I was so busy in the winter, or whatever it may be. So one of your boundary checklists is, am I honoring my need for solitude? If others want to go full on, let them. Have I let go of any pressure to finish summer perfectly? That's kind of exactly what we're talking about, right? Is the pressure that August brings. So have I let go of it, or am I still holding on to it? And then you can add, so you can either take some of those and make them this, or you can add some of your top 3 non-negotiables. So you can rate them, you can add them, you can put a star beside them, whatever it happens to be, but have your top 3 non-negotiables. And when I was thinking about this podcast, I thought I'm going to come up with some affirmations too, because affirmations, well, they're pretty awesome. So some August affirmations. These are some things I want you to tell yourself. I don't need to earn rest. How many times have you said, as soon as I finish this, I'm going to chill? As soon as I get all of this work done, I'm going to take some time off. I need to work really hard because I have a week off, right? You don't need to earn rest. Rest is required. My boundaries are a form of self-respect. I have done numerous videos and spoken numerous times about boundaries being self-care. Boundaries and limits are a form of self-respect. I release urgency and welcome ease. We don't have to go full on. Just because September's coming up, we don't have to, it's not the push. Let's enjoy our whole summer. Summer isn't just July in Canada. Summer is July and August. And I know that for myself too, when my son was younger mostly, but when August came, I kind of felt like it was an extension of the fall. Because all the school stuff was coming up, and I was preparing for him to go back to school, and I worked in education then, so I was preparing for myself to go back to work, and it just felt like August was an extension. August is still the summer. So let's release that urgency and just welcome an ease to end the summer. The next part of Mind Tools, saying no as emotional hygiene. So we have sleep hygiene, we have physical, personal hygiene. This is emotional hygiene. Saying no is part of that emotional hygiene. Saying no is a yes to ourselves. Because often when we say yes to things when we're busy or, we're already feeling overwhelmed, we're overextending ourselves, that's a no to ourselves. That means that we're giving up our own self-care, or that means that we're giving up something we wanted to do for ourselves for someone else. And if you're a people pleaser, you do it all the time. So saying no is part of your emotional hygiene. Saying no is saying yes to yourself. There's another affirmation. So here are some ways that you can say no. People ask me all the time, right? I think that we're conditioned to think that saying no is being mean or letting people down. We have to change that perception. You could say, I wish I could, but I just need some rest right now. Not, I wish I could, but I've got a lot going on and I'm really tired and I have this to do next weekend and you don't need to over-explain. I wish I could, but I need to rest. Or I wish I could, but I just can't right now. That doesn't work for me. Thank you for understanding. It's being assertive, and assertive is respect for self and others. It is stating your concern, your stance, your no, while respecting yourself and others. So that doesn't work for me. Thank you for understanding. I'm honored you asked, but I can't take it on. We need to think of no as, it's not being rude, it's being responsible. It's like emotional hand washing. It keeps you clean from resentment and overwhelm. Because if you always say yes, and that is a no to yourself, you're going to become resentful or you're going to become overwhelmed. Practice in low stakes situations first. See how it feels, and then move on to bigger things. Self-care isn't about the bath bombs. I mean, it is, but it's not only about the bath bombs and the massages and the nails and all of those things that we talk about. It's so much more than that. And it's not selfish, right? Self-care is necessary. It's giving your mind permission to rest and setting those boundaries by saying no sometimes is some of the best self-care you can do for yourself. Now, the body. Now we're going to move on to body tools. Your body is like that loyal sidekick that's been carrying all your stress. Yeah, we feel it in our brains, but our body carries so much stress and never gets credit for it. And so some body tools, some things we can do is just some simple movement ideas, right? A 2-minute stretch ritual. The 2-minute stretch ritual that we can do, there's different ones we can do, but they're just quick resets for the body and the mind. You can do it during your workday. For people who do jobs like me where you have clients, I do my breathing in between clients and I do a muscle relaxation between my clients. And I never thought about doing the stretches in between my clients. I sit a lot and carry some heavy, and here's some heavy. And doing the stretches, I think, will be really beneficial. So I'm going to start trying to incorporate those. I get a few minutes in between clients, so I'm going to try it. So some of the 2-minute rituals: standing, reach, and side bend. So stretch your arms over your head, then gently bend side to side. It opens the ribs and the waist. Some people want to put their hands on their hips. I think that's fine either way, but just when you stand with your hands over your head, you're really opening it up, and just stretch, leaning to the left and leaning to the right. Hip opener lunge. Maybe some of these, if you're working a cubicle and stuff, you might not want to just stand up and start doing them, but hey, maybe it'll get other people to do it too. Who knows, right? Hip opener lunge. Step 1 foot forward into a deep lunge, hands on hips or overhead. So alternate legs, right? It's 2 minutes. Just stretch it out. Seated forward fold. Sit with your legs extended. Reach towards your toes to release your hamstrings and lower back. You don't have to touch your toes. just lean towards, reach out. Butterfly pose. This is one I do a lot, actually. Sit with soles of feet together, knees dropped outward. Gently pulse your knees or lean forward. If you can just try these 2-minute stretch routines, especially if you're desk bound all day or sitting like I do, not at a desk, but in a chair. It's just a gentle reset when you're needing to be grounded. Some more body tools, sleep rituals. For hot August nights, a lot of people have AC, but it might not be that hot when you're in your AC, but it's still sleep rituals that are really helpful. So a pre-bed shower, okay, not a smoking hot shower. I like hot showers too, but just a lukewarm rinse an hour to an hour and a half before bed. That helps trigger melatonin production, which will help you sleep better. Cooling herb tea. These are a lot of like lukewarm cooling because August is hot. So cooling herbal tea. Sip iced chamomile or tart cherry juice with mint or cucumber. People are like, ew. But tartness is a form of grounding, right? A lot of times when we feel really up, if you put something really sour in your mouth, some people do warheads, which I can't do, but something really sour in your mouth, it actually snaps you out of it a little bit. It kind of, I don't know if it's the, central nervous system or what, but it releases some of that tension. Breath work. So try your box breathing, try the figure 8 breathing we talk about, or just do some belly breathing, right? Like in through your nose, out through your mouth. Sleep rituals are all about, let's bring it all down. No devices right before bed. Soothing music, maybe dim lights. Just bring it all down. Sleep sanctuary. If you can, use blackout curtains, a fan. I have both of those. And breathable bedding. Some things I read suggested like eucalyptus sheets. Some people have like cooling pillows. Some people have cooling sheets. One of my clients has a contraption for perimenopause. I haven't purchased it yet. However, it's like a sheet fan thing that goes at the bottom of the bed. Her husband bought it for her. And it's just on her side of the bed. But it's like, I don't know what it is. She sent me a link and it blows underneath the sheet. So the fan's not like right on you, and it's just gentle breeze and it's cooling and it helps her sleep. So there's a suggestion too. One thing that people don't realize is how dehydration affects your mind. We're always told drink water, hydrate, especially in hot weather. Hydration is huge. And I just went through something this weekend that taught me that, again, how important hydration is. And if you're dehydrated, what can happen? Not to me personally, but, here's some things how dehydration can affect your mood, that some of these I bet you didn't know about. It's more than just thirst. Hormonal shifts. Low hydration increases cortisol and decreases serotonin and dopamine. I didn't even know that. Right? I didn't know, to that extent. This I did know. Brain fog. Electrolyte imbalance affects memory, focus, and decision making. Sleep disruption. Dehydration can make it harder to fall and stay asleep. Mood swings. Even mild dehydration is linked to irritability, anxiety, and fatigue. So some hydration hacks, all of those are pretty significant, actually. The weather being as hot as it has been in the past few weeks, and how we're anticipating, starting August that way, we really need to hydrate. So front load water intake in the morning. Eat water-rich foods like cucumbers or grapes or watermelon, and track what you drink. Track your sips. Maybe not sips per se, but the amount that you drink. Track it so that you're aware. Because sometimes we think we're drinking a lot of water and we're not really. And then the last part of body tools is somatic techniques. So these are body-based calming strategies for emotional regulation. the butterfly hug. So I will demonstrate it for those on YouTube, but I will talk it out for those on Spotify. The butterfly hug is something that we do in EMDR therapy too, a tapping method when we're installing our calm place. And so butterfly hug is crossing your arms over your chest. Sometimes people can link their thumb so it looks like a butterfly and tap. Mostly we cross across our chest, our arms across our chest, and just tap alternately on each arm. And it can be as long and as short as the intensity, whatever. You know, most of my clients are like this, just kind of gently tapping. Some are, right? So it just depends on what works for you. But that is a calming technique that you can do, a somatic technique, and it is done in trauma therapy. Feet on a cold tile. So in dialectical behavioral therapy, distress tolerance, we talk about cold because it resets our nervous system and our vagal nerve regulation. So feet on a cold tile, stand barefoot on cold surfaces, and that activates the sensory grounding and the vagal nerve regulation. And then there's temperature shifts. So splash ice cold water on your face. Hold an ice cube. Hold an ice pack. In the winter, go outside in the cold air for a minute and just feel it. We're talking about August, so we don't have that. However, the others, you can do that in the winter. And the other things I'm talking about, they reset your nervous system. Progressive muscle relaxation. So you are aware of each muscle part. Start with your toes, move up your body, tensing and relaxing with purpose, and then back down. For me, in between clients, I don't do progressive, but I tense my whole body up and then I gently release it. That way I know that my muscles are relaxing all day long. Because how many times by the end of the day are your shoulders up around your ears, or you lie down in bed and you're like, whoa, and you feel the tension in your body. So do it with purpose. And then a body scan. Lie down and mentally scan each part of your body from head to toe. Notice any tension, any sensations that you're feeling. You can do that with the progressive muscle relaxation too. So you can do the body scan first and then target those spots, or do the body scan first, do the progressive muscle relaxation, focusing on those spots the most. Although having a gym membership obviously is a good thing, you don't need a gym membership to honor your body. There are other ways you can do it as well. Again, I'm not saying to not work out. I'm not saying to not go to the gym. I always want to clarify that because those are important. I'm a mental health specialist, so I'm focusing on the things that help us. I mean, again, going to the gym helps you mentally too, but I'm focusing on some of these things that you can do at home. And by doing these, you'll actually may feel more motivated and well to go to the gym or to do workouts. I'm just saying that there's other ways to honor your body as well, and caring for it in these ways, absolutely one. So soul tools, our last one. This is the part of you that craves beauty, rest, and just tiny joys. Build a joy shelf. And you're like, what is a joy shelf? It can be a physical or a digital space just for your delights. Create a sanctuary for your spirit, a physical joy shelf. When we say joy shelf, it's, it doesn't have to be an actual shelf, right? Last week, I talked about my mid-year reset and my morning routines. When I'm in my living room on my recliner by the fire, I have pictures of my parents. I have pictures of my family, my son and daughter-in-law at their wedding. I have my fireplace. I have my cat there. So usually I'm watching a sport, not in the morning, at night, but in the morning, that is my physical joy shelf. Say that 10 times fast. And it brings me peace. So you create a small space, a shelf, a tray, a corner, an area with objects that spark joy. So it could be your favorite candle, a photo that makes you smile, a tiny plant, a quote card, something that you brought home from a trip. Different things that hold joy. Have those around you. Have that corner. For kids, sometimes I create we call it the Take 5 corner, and it has things that help them calm. So why can't we have that as adults, right? Like they have their favorite books or their favorite stuffies or weighted blankets or whatever it may be, sensory stuff. So why can't we have that as an adult? So make your physical joy shelf a digital joy shelf. Can't say that any better than physical. Make a folder or a Pinterest board filled with joyful things. So whether they're memes or music, affirmations, quotes, recipes, dreamy visuals, sunsets, oceans, lakes, bonfires, whatever it is for you, make that digital joy shelf. Have it so that you can just kind of look at it, bring it up on your phone, make it your screensaver on your phone or your computer. I kind of have that too on my computer. I know I talk about my grandkids a lot, but they're my life, so I'm going to. My computer, my screensaver is just a rotation of pictures of not just my grandkids, me with my friends, me with my staff when we had our retreat, that kind of thing. That's kind of like my digital joy shelf. And so your joy ritual is visit your shelf. When you feel low, when you feel scattered, just recenter yourself. Go to this joy shelf. Just let it remind you, let it be a reminder that joy is accessible. It doesn't have to be grandiose things. I mean, seriously, a digital joy shelf, you make it your screensaver or something, you open up your phone and you look at it, right? I open up my laptop and I see it because I also have my lock screen. Well, everything on my computer is pictures of my grandkids, right? So use whatever you can to access that joy when you're feeling really down. You can also rotate them, right? Like seasonally, just keep it fresh because we talk about evolving and changing. So if we keep it fresh, it's like our current delights. Sunday solitude ritual. I'm going to change this a little bit to both, right? There's Sunday solitude ritual and then there's Sunday ritual that you can do. And it just means no agenda, just pause. Let Sunday be your soft landing. So the reason I switched it is because when my dad was still alive, for when my mom was still alive and she passed 20 years ago this September when she was still alive. Every Sunday morning, we would go to my dad's, all of us, and we would bring our kids. And then I started bringing my grandkids and my mom and dad's when she was here. And my uncles would come and we'd have coffee. We'd bring our own coffee, usually Tim Hortons or whatever it may be. I often brought just my travel mug. And we'd all be together. And we would laugh, and that was our Sunday ritual. And we don't do that anymore now that my dad's gone, and I think we need to start that back up. We do other rituals, but I think that that was a good ritual. Sunday solitude ritual just means unstructured time. Block 1 to 2 hours out with no plans. Just let your body heal. Let your body lead. You can map, you can journal, you can stretch, you can stare out the window, you can listen to music. Just be. You can use sensory anchors, like light a candle, sip something warm, play that music, whether it's, ambient music or just music that refreshes you. Put a warm blanket around you, a cozy blanket, fuzzy socks, whatever it may be, sensory-wise, and just let stillness be the goal. Permission slip. Write yourself a permission slip. Write yourself a note. I don't need to be productive to be worthy. We think that, and I've said this over and over, downtime is wasted time. It's not. It's necessary. You do not need to be productive to be worthy. I think we need to hear that more often. So this ritual is about presence. It's about just being, not performative. It's a weekly reset for your nervous system. And the reason we say Sunday is because for most people, that is the day before at the end of the weekend, the day before we get back to work on Monday. So it's a good time to reset. And the last one is value mapping. What matters now versus last year? It's just kind of like It's a gentle inventory of us evolving, our evolving self. And what I want you to do is create 2 columns. One side, what mattered last year. The other side, what matters now. Reflect. We're doing a lot of reflection this summer. Reflect. What shifted? What changed in the last year for us? What stayed? What surprised you? Right? Just make this list. Think about last year. What mattered last year? Think about this year. What matters now? I know for myself, some things that mattered last year don't matter so much now. And some things that mattered last year absolutely still matter, right? So just try to explore some themes. It just gives you a really good insight, and it allows you to evolve. It allows you to give permission to evolve and change. So some themes to explore. Relationships. Who feels aligned now? Often that changes and evolves. Time. What do you prioritize differently now as opposed to last year? Energy. What drains you versus nourishes you? You can do a visual map. You can be creative with it. You can use colors. You can use symbols. You can make it a collage. Whatever you want to do to express your values. This practice, this ritual, reveals growth and helps you realign your choices with your current self. We often get stuck. Last week I said that my morning ritual, I continue it each year as one of my mental health goals. That's not stuck because that's still, if I reflect on that, that's still very important to me. But we can often get stuck just doing the same thing and feeling the same way. By reflecting and really digging deep and saying what's different now, it can help you realign with who you are today. And there's some pleasure practices for soul as well. So pleasure practices, another thing that you can't say 10 times fast. Pleasure practices are guilt-free indulgences in something lovely, right? So it's just about reclaiming joy. A microindulgence, a fancy coffee, silk pajamas, mine, dancing in the kitchen. Those are just micro-indulgences. Sensory play. So try a new lotion, whether it's like silky lotion or a scent that it has. Wear a bold lipstick. Eat something slowly and mindfully. We eat so fast and it's just like, get it in there. And when you eat mindfully, you chew, you taste it, you eat slowly. It's actually better for you too. But just, enjoy your food. A pleasure journal. Track what delights you. No judgment, just joy, right? Just write down things that delight you, things that bring you joy. And reframe guilt. So I tell my clients that guilt is the G word because I call it the G word because guilt, the definition of guilt implies an intent to harm. Taking time for yourself, slowing things down, resetting, you're not harming anybody. So we shouldn't have to feel guilty to put ourselves first or realign things for us. Pleasure isn't frivolous, right? It's fuel. Pleasure actually restores our capacity to care, to create, and to connect. Another affirmation I want you to write down or tell yourself, I deserve beauty, softness, and joy without apology. Joy is medicine. So give yourself a daily dose. I tell my clients, I want you to, when you're feeling overwhelmed and slow things down, find one responsibility a day to do. Sometimes that's brush your teeth, right? One responsibility and one joyful or pleasurable activity. That's all I want you to focus on each day. It is medicine. So here is a challenge for you. I want you to grab a notebook, a journal, or just open the notes app in your phone. I want you to choose one mind tool, one body tool, and one soul tool to carry throughout the month of August. I want you to label each tool. So you're going to have mind tool and then label the tool that you choose. And then I want you to write down how to apply it. And then I want you to set weekly check-ins. We haven't hit August yet, so it's perfect time. August 1st, write these down, and August 1st is a Friday. So each Friday, I want you to do a weekly check-in to reflect on its impact. How is it impacting you by doing each one of these? Let's make August intentional and not just busy. So we often get listener questions or client questions, and I have a few. I've kind of answered some of them, but there's also myths we need to bust too. But the first question is self-care or selfish? And I did say it. Self-care is not selfish. Selfish is when we walk all over people for our own personal gain. It's when we do not think about other people and it's all about ourselves. We disrespect other people. We do not show empathy, whatever it may be, because it's about us and what we need and what we want. That's not what self-care is. Self-care is about understanding that we need to take care of ourselves. We need to eat healthy, move more, set limits, have self-compassion, set boundaries, do joyful activities, whether it's a sport or cooking or baking or crafting or music or whatever, right? Gardening, being around people. Do the hygiene things. Set time to relax. That is not selfish. That is self-care. Reframe it. If we think that doing stuff for ourselves is selfish, ask yourself why. What were you taught? What were the messages that you were provided as a child that makes you think that it's selfish? The next question, if I stop being productive, will I lose momentum? It's a good question. No, is the answer. If you stop being productive, you'll gain momentum. If you are constantly trying to be productive, then you are adding pressure to yourself, which is then going to trigger the stress response, which is going to make you all systems go, and it's actually going to slow the momentum down because you're not going to be able to process what you're doing. You're not going to be able to regulate your emotions. You're going to become overwhelmed. You might experience burnout. And if you've listened to other podcasts, you know that with burnout, it is complete emotional, physical, mental exhaustion, and you lack motivation. Slowing down productivity or not being as productive is actually going to increase motivation. So it's going to increase your momentum. Downtime is not wasted time. It's necessary. How do I explain my needs to others without guilt? So I think I answered that one when I was talking about the, no as emotional hygiene. You can, in saying no, but you can also be assertive. Setting boundaries is not leave me alone, this is how I'm feeling. Setting boundaries can be when you do this, this is how I'm going to respond. I've said before too, expressing how you feel, that sort of thing, isn't confrontation, it's a conversation. It only becomes confrontation when either or both parties make it that way. So use I messages. Be assertive, be respectful to self and the other person. And remember that guilt implies an intent to harm. If your framing is that or your perception is that, sharing or explaining your needs is infringing on somebody else, we need to change that perception. And again, ask yourself, where did I get that perception from, that perspective from? Probably from your childhood, probably from messages that you have received. Reframing or looking at, why do you have that perspective? Explaining your needs in an assertive way is not harming anybody. Spoiler alert, boundaries are brave, they're not rude. It depends on how you say them or how you set them. If you curse and swear and say, leave me alone, all right, feel guilty, because that's rude, right? If you say, this is what I need, this is how I will respond, that is not rude. Okay, so we are going to wrap up. I hope that you have a happy and healthy and restful August. Remove some of that pressure. Thank you for hanging out with me. Follow us on Spotify. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube and catch us on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And we have a lot more for you coming up. As always, take care of you.